The aircraft behind me now is a Sukhoi Su-26, which is an out-and-out aerobatic aeroplane. And I saw this aircraft being flown yesterday, and I still don't quite believe what I saw. I reckon it's physically impossible, but obviously it's not. And standing next to me is Steve Jones, the owner and pilot of the aircraft. And Steve, you did a remarkable demonstration yesterday. Are we going to see it again today?
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's certainly a remarkable aeroplane. It just begs to be flown in a sort of rather in a radical manner. It has huge amounts of control, especially at low speeds. And that allows you to combine the control at low speeds with the huge gyroscopics from the big three-bladed propeller to do some quite remarkable tumbling manoeuvres.
Which is what we were seeing yesterday.
Absolutely. So that's we don't get the opportunity to do too much of that on the old Red Bull Air Race, because obviously it's a competitive event. But we get about a minute overhead as we're climbing into the circuit to do something wacky, just for our own amusement, really, and hopefully everyone else's.
And ours too.
Yes.
But Steve, it's a very interesting aeroplane. Would you like to take us around it and show us some of the salient, rather different features to perhaps the aerobatic aeroplanes that we see, such as, well, the Chipmunk or even the Pitts?
The Sukhoi 26, Russian built, a 9-cylinder, mildly supercharged radial engine, 360 horsepower in this one. Biggest propeller we can get on. It's limited by the ground clearance. Even with the tail down, the propeller tip is pretty close to the surface. So that's the limit. So we want the biggest propeller we can. We can do that because the propeller is geared 2 to 3 with the engine. So even though the engine's doing 3,000 RPM, the propeller is only doing 2. So it's big, long, efficient blades turning relatively slowly. So that gives us good thrust, if you like, at low speeds. It's cooling gills for the. It's a problem to get rid of the heat from the engine because it's obviously a big engine and a little aeroplane, so certainly at low speeds we want to get rid of the heat as much as we can. Allows the heat to escape. Great big solid titanium spring gear, all built prior to the open market in Russia, so I don't think they realised what that would have cost at the time, but anyway, so it's got a sort of 5-foot long solid piece of titanium. Standard wheels with hydraulic brakes. Carbon wing, very, very strong. The wing ultimate strength is plus or minus 22 or so G, so incredibly strong wing. All carbon with a little bit of Kevlar, I think, in the skin. Fully symmetrical, flies as well upside down as it does the right way up. Huge ailerons allow us to roll very fast, 400 degrees a second, and unusually, I suppose it's fairly common nowadays for an aerobatic aeroplane, beneath the ailerons we have things which we call spades, and basically it's a piece of aluminium sheet. It's all designed by the factory. It's not something we've added on, but it's a thing called a spade, which is basically an aerodynamic servo which lightens the load on the ailerons, because there are no powered controls on the airplane. So as you have larger deflections on the ailerons, it just lightens the force. So you can roll fairly fast at high speed without needing biceps like Popeye. Moving around, windows all over the aircraft, obviously a conventional canopy, but because of the strange attitudes you can get to with the airplane, they've put us a window in the side here. Also, which you probably can't see, most of the floor is perspex, so you can see out, see sort of straight down when you're over the airfield. Carbon rear fuselage, again carbon tailplane, big controls. The elevators are locked at the moment, so I can't move them, but again, large deflection, large control surfaces, same with the rudder, so that you've got huge amounts of control power at low speeds. Allows us to do all these wacky things.
And these will remove the need for spades on the elevators.
That's right, absolutely. That's the sort of the equivalent, if you like, of a spade. Similarly with the rudder, quite a big horn balance. Again, allows or reduces the force required to deflect the rudder. And again, all carbon tail surfaces, very strong. Tail wheel undercarriage, which people tend to think is old-fashioned, or looks old-fashioned, but it allows us to have a huge propeller and keep it away from the ground. So that's the reason for the tail wheel undercarriage.
Well, Steve, you've actually shown us your very interesting Sukhoi, but perhaps you can now tell us a bit about the Red Bull Air Race itself.
Yes,
what's it all about?
It's a unique event, really. It's never been done before in the UK, and it's only been held twice before in the world, once in Austria last year, once in Hungary. And it's an unusual combination of racing against the clock. It's a proper competitive event against the clock. We have 6 pilots here, 2 Brits and 4 guys from abroad. And basically we get airborne, we do a half Q and 8, charge back down towards the runway again and fly between two inflatable obstructions at 30 feet. Clock starts there. We've got electronic timing beam, so we fly through the beam, clock starts, and away we go. And it's round a course held within the airfield boundary, and we fly between some inflatable gates, if you like, obstructions. And in between the obstructions, we have to fly a compulsory aerobatic manoeuvre, which is unusual to be flying an aerobatic manoeuvre against the clock, but that's what it is. So it's a combination of racing and aerobatics. And it's spectacular to watch, I think. It's certainly spectacular from where I'm watching, which is in my Sukhoi.
I'm sure. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. But tell me, are the airplanes in any way handicapped in relation to their performance?
No, they're all unlimited level aerobatic airplanes.
Right.
So they all have as much power as they can get into the airplane. They're all very strong, as light as they can be made. But there are three different types, basically. We've got the two Russian Sukhois.
Right.
We've got three extra 300s and an Edge 540, American design. So the Sukhois are quite draggy, got lots of power, but as they accelerate, the drag starts to build up.
That's because of the large frontal area, presumably.
That's right, yeah,
yes.
and also very thick wing section.
Yes.
Yeah. And where the extras are a much slimmer aircraft, they're very strong, but they're much aerodynamically cleaner.
Yes.
And so once they get going, they accelerate very well. So we think we can outturn them, but they think they can fly the straights faster than us. We roll very quickly with the Sukhois, and some of those don't roll so quickly, so it's sort of swings and roundabouts.
Right.
And we're all within about 3 or 4 seconds of each other over the year.
And do they tell you before takeoff the compulsory aerobatic manoeuvre?
Yes, yeah, we've known that.
Does everyone fly the same one?
Yes, yeah, we've designed that over the last. Well, we initially designed it about a month ago. We've honed it a little bit, the experience of the last few days of practice, just to make sure it's safe, because we're sort of forcing people to gain height before they fly their aerobatic manoeuvre. So because the little horns come out of your head when you see the clock ticking away, so you need to make sure it's safe. So it's good. It's good fun.
Good. Well, the best of luck, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thanks.
Accelerating 230 miles per hour, which is the top speed, going straight up into the sky. Going back to 1. Here he is with a half reverse Cuban. These guys are actually losing 2 liters of sweat in one single run. So this is really good to keep up your weight balance, It's great training, of course. Fantastic, Steve Jones. What is his time going to be? 1:09:56. That means that Steve Jones is currently in the lead. There's the freestyle. It looks as if he's completely losing control. But this, of course, is not true. Peter Besnier coming through the start and going straight up. Look at this beautiful style and a beautiful plane indeed. Oy, oy, oy. Fantastic how he stabilizes his plane. No wobbly. Coming straight down. Back to gate number 1. And going back straight up. With the pull. That's a vertical 1.5 rotation. The intermediate time will be 40.26. That is almost a 1/100th of a second slower than our current leader, Steve Jones. Coming through the gate and going back straight up, doing the rolls. That's a half reverse Cuban. It's 3.5 rolls. And let's see if he's going to take first place. Peter Besnier, 1:09.73. That means he is in second place currently. Steve Jones still in the lead, your local hero. You must be thrilled.